Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Antti Järvelä. Of course, I'm from Finland, as you might already know. I was born in a very musical family in a very musical surroundings. So I ended up learning traditional folk music by ear, mostly from my uncle and grandfather, who were also my idols, great idols. I play several musical instruments. I started with the violin, but then started extending my abilities with mandolin, guitar, double bass, then some keyboard instruments, and so on. But usually I work playing my different instruments with different groups and projects. I work mostly as a freelance musician usually, and as a music teacher, but these times, this COVID period has changed pretty much our expectations how our jobs will form in the future, but we hope for the best and everyone to stay safe and sound.
Safe and sound. And my name is Maija Pokela. I'm also from Finland, and I'm from the capital area, from the next to Helsinki. But my first kantele teacher, she is from Kaustinen, which is the same same little town that Antti is from. So it's kind of the folk music town of Finland. And
the cradle of folk music in Finland.
Yes. So then I got into the folk music scene through her, and I played with some master players of kantele when I was a kid, and that's how I went for it. And kantele is my instrument. I will tell more about that later. But I'm a singer and kantele player, and that's how I live. I teach a bit, like Antti does also, and then I have some bands, and yeah, I'm a freelance musician too. So
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Quite often in the States we get asked that, where's Finland? I think maybe some of you might know that we are kind of like willing to be a real part of Scandinavia, but we will give you a small presentation. So Maija is now drawing here precise figures of Scandinavia. So this is Finland. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
And if you wonder where in Finland we are right now, we are around there. So our place is about 30-40 miles from the western coast, and the place is called Alahärmä. This is our hometown, and if you wonder if this is a very famous place, this is a very small place with about 4,000 people living in the community. And in the past, about 100 years ago, this is a very rare place in the world, because if you think of terror, compared to the population of the area, this is one of the worst terror acts ever happened in the world. And it's still famous about that particular period. Lots of knives, Maija wrote there. So this thing about terror I told you, it's something to do with the knives. Maybe you'll get an image flashing during the video. And next to Finland, if we go west, so to the left, there's Sweden. And now Maija is drawing an approximate figure of Sweden. That's very beautiful, Maija. Thank you. And Sweden goes a little further, also like basically up north we share a common borderline, which is like, in real life it's maybe somewhere around here. There's the bottom of the bay. Mm-hmm. And then Maija is drawing Norway next to Sweden. And once you go further west from the coastline of Norway, you start traveling that way, there's something in between. There's like Iceland, and maybe you can see UK a little bit as well. But then you come to the east coast of United States eventually, across the Atlantic. And then we go down south, and there's Denmark in the south. And these countries are commonly thought as the Nordic countries. Iceland also included in this category, but we are out of paper with our map, so we cannot draw Iceland for you now. And the rest of Europe, it continues down here. And then on this side, on the right side in the east, there's Russia a lot. Like we have to go really far, somewhere like at least to here, to see the eastern border of Russia. So it's a really vast country. So our artist Maija gave you an impression. What is Scandinavia and where we are in Finland right now? It's a time to perform you a song about bunk bed and about a girl who doesn't want any boys to join in the upper section of the bunk bed. She wants to be there by herself and just have good time by teasing the boys. This is a traditional song from this area. 1, 2, 3. Here we have a traditional type of bunk bed. It's about 100 years old. So here we are in front of an old grain storage. They used to dry grain in this building with fire. And here we have an old grain storage as well. It's in bits and pieces and it was abandoned maybe 30-40 years ago, but it's going to be in its former glory in a couple of years' time. And here we are standing on our backyard. And basically when I first bought this property and house, it's about 13 years ago, I first lived in the house for approximately 2 years before I started doing anything. But it looks like it's still like kind of like in the middle of the process, and I can tell you it still is. So I've been doing all the renovations, trying to honor the old craftsmanship, just like making most of the things by hand and really like using old type of materials and recycling old materials as well. But basically, if you see the foundation, it's made of 2 layers of big stones. They had a great stone carving tradition in this region. There was 3 workshops. They worked on the local stony rock sites, you could say maybe. And they made these huge blocks, and also the local church has been made of this kind of stone blocks as well. Then we have a workshop building. That's also only the one of the buildings that was here. Basically that part used to be here and that part used to be here. But this part here, this has been remade from old grain storage basically. And I've been making this little front entrance part this summer for it. Now we are in the building we just presented to you. And I just wanted you to get a little time frame around things, how things happen and what we try to preserve from the history. The United States of America was founded 1776. And this building, while we were building it up, we found that there's a figure graved on one of the logs, because that was a habit in the old days that the constructors, they marked the year when they built the buildings. And one of the logs had the figure here, and you can see it says 1731. So this is rather old. This is older than the United States of America as you know it today. This part of the yard we have actually remade completely. So now there's a sauna built like with only traditional methods built on that site. And then there's an outdoor cellar next to it, and then an old storage which I'm gonna also repair later on. And this is like a traditional wood storage for firewood. And here we have Maija's working department, you could say. And this is also timbered in a very traditional way. So there's all the logs. These are actual logs, not anything that has been glued and pressed together. So as you can see, the thickness of the logs, it's about 6 inches wide, and then they are quite beautiful, decent sized logs they have used for timbering it. And also with this one we have only used natural materials to make the building. So this is also kind of like coming up soon. So there's the ceiling, it's made out of aspen, which has to be dried for 2 to 3 years before it's worked into its actual form. And then everything else, also like the floor, has been kind of like recycled and reused from certain timber. And here we are in front of our precious sauna building. Sauna tradition has been carried in Finland for centuries basically. And the very oldest form of sauna, it used to be basically a house where people lived. They had a stove in the middle of the building, and both the animals and people, they were living together in harmony. And especially in the winter time you got heat both from the stove and from the animals and each other's company. But this is kind of like the holy place for the Finns. It's a little dark in here. So the ceiling, once again, it's made of aspen planks. Then these particular trees we took down from the yard, and all the floors have been made out of these these, I think it's called larch. And I don't know if you see anything here, but we have a big stove with about 1,000 kilos of stones. Not all the supermarkets sell these.
Hello.
Excuse me. I wonder if you know what this is. It's an old Nokia mobile phone, and in case you didn't know, the very first mobile phone call ever in the world was made in Finland. This is a little more advanced model of the very old Nokia phones. This was called a communicator, which kind of like determines the entire development of the mobile technology. And the tune you hear on the background, it's the original ringtone of the Nokia mobile phones. There was only one, and basically this ringtone is a traditional polska from Finland called Koiviston polska.
So this instrument is kantele. It doesn't have any other name than kantele, so it's spelled like Kantele. Kantele. You can try to say that also.
Candle.
Kantele.
It's almost like candle.
Yeah, kandele. And it's a Finnish instrument. It's the national instrument of Finland. And it's a great one. I really like it. Here we have 5 strings, stringed kantele. And this is kind of the traditional type of kantele. Every house used to have their own kanteles, carved from a piece of wood, and the strings were made out of animals' guts or horsehair, and they were around 5 strings. I think that was the most popular amount of strings back in that time.
The Finnish national epic Kalevala claims that the first kantele was made out of pike's jaw.
Yeah.
So you can see the pegs where the strings are attached.
Yeah.
There. And then on the other end there's other type of pegs, ones that direct the string. That's not in every kantele, this is like a modern version. And then the pegs, you use a certain tuning key to tune them up or down with. And this little piece there, it's just like for tuning this one string half a step up or back down. You can play in major or minor tone. The basic tuning is up from D.
Yeah, D, E, F, G, A.
All right.
Oh yeah.
And what do you have?
Well, this was
there?
a 5-string kantele. Oh, there's more strings. So
that's the bigger sister, or?
Yeah, in the 1800s, the amount of strings started to increase. Is that how you can say it? Maybe. Mm-hmm. So I have here 15 strings. And I can do whatever I want with this. I can play some melodies.
So you use both hands and pluck the strings. And it's very much recognizable, the sound, when you just like let it ring. It's a beautiful, almost like harp-like sound.
And then I can also play some chords, like strumming like this. And now I have a pick here. I can also combine these things, so we have this mixed style we kantele players we use. So I can play melodies and chords at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
and then do you have even more kanteles?
Yes, of
in
course.
The house?
Yes, I have so many kanteles. So this one is 36 string home kantele, as we say, kotikantele. And this technique is totally different. So even though these all are called kanteles, they are basically different instruments because the technique is quite different. So this is more like kind of a piano white keys I have here, and my right hand is playing melodies and my left hand is all for the bass. I love the bass.
You can see the thickness of the bass strings, they are quite epic.
And then I also have a 38-stringed concert kantele, which has some levers that I can change the pitch. But actually it's stuck in Sweden now, the instrument, because of the coronavirus. It's over there waiting for me
It's
to pick
the
it up.
COVID they say in the States, I think.
Oh yeah, COVID-19, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, the same thing.
Yeah, virus. Yeah, but these kanteles in the 1800s, they started to develop these kind of bigger instruments, and I played from this side. This is the traditional style of playing in this area. And then most of the kantele players, they play from the long side, as you say, when the longest string is closest to you. And so on. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maija.
Thank you, Antti.
This is an old harmonium. It's also like called reed organ or pump organ, because you have to pump the air into the bellows that makes the sound out of the instrument. It's a piano-like instrument, but like basically just to make sound you need to pump, and then you just have to hold the keys down. In the piano you can just like use the sustain pedal to make it a ringing sound. But this harmonium, it is from the United States of America. Woo!
So next we are going to sing a song from Karelia. It's an Ingrian song, and the story goes that you leave from your home, from your dear home, and then accidentally you kick your foot to a rock, and it's painful.
It hurts.
It hurts, and you cry
so much.
and you yeah, but you survive out of that. And we want you to join this song, the singing part that repeats every time in every verse, and the lyrics are oilia. That's the first thing. So repeat after me. Oilia, oilia. Yeah, good. You sound like Finnish people.
Yeah.
And then the lyrics go vieremä. Try that one. Vieremä, vieremä. That's good. And then one more word. It's veräjiltä. Veräjiltä. Oh yeah, let's try this. Oilia vieremä. Oilia vieremä. Veräjiltä vieremä. Veräjiltä vieremä. Yeah.
And that sound, how do you do that?
So like
It sounds
babies
like
cry and
or sheep.
yeah, or sheep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the vowel. Yeah, not R, but really like.
We have
That's
and Ö.
Yeah.
Or A with the dots and O with the dots.
Yeah, exactly. And then also the R sound, R, might be a bit hard, but you can think that you are pirates. R, like that. So
Arr.
you can try. You can try. Yeah. So, but if you cannot make it, it's okay. It's a new sound maybe for your mouth, so you can just say your R. It's totally fine.
And you will have some subtitles helping you out when to join.
Yeah. And the melody goes like this. Oilia vieremä, veräjiltä vieremä. And let's take that in pieces. So first thing is oilia. Your turn. Oilia. Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful singing, Antti. And then vieremä, vieremä. And those together. Oilia vieremä, oilia virma. And then veräjiltä, veräjiltä. Yeah. And then again the same. Virma, virma. So those two together. Veräjiltä virma, veräjiltä virma. Good. So the whole thing goes like this. Oilia virma, veräjiltä virma, oilia virma, veräjiltä virma, oilia virma, veräjiltä virma, oilia virma, veräjiltä virma. And that's all you need to know. For you, we made this kind of version out of this song that we repeat that part every time. So
After each verse.
yeah, after each verse. So that's all you need to know. So please join this song with us.
Good luck. Have
Yeah.
fun.
Läksin koista kulkomaan veräjiltä viremä, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Läksin koista kulkomaan veräjiltä viremä, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Issoin uudesta tuvasta velloin karjoi kartanoin, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Issoin uudesta tuvasta velloin karjoi kartanoin, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Löin jalkoini kivuine istuimaan itkemään, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Issoin jalkoini kivuine istuimaan itkemään, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä, oilia viremä, Istuin maana itkemään, kiven päälle kiljumaan, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Istuin maana itkemään, kiven päälle kiljumaan, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Kiven päällä kiljumaan, ajoin päällä aikkaamaan, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Kiven päällä kiljumaan, ajoin päällä aikkaamaan, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä. Lia viremä, veräjiltä viremä, oilia viremä, veräjiltä viremä.
Okay. Here we have one of the most Finnish-like landscapes. In Finland, there's a total of 57,000 lakes, and those lakes are all larger than 2.5 acres. That's quite a big number. But if you take a basketball field and all the lakes in Finland that are larger than a basketball field, the total count makes it up to about 168,000 lakes altogether in Finland.
Kaiken sen vielä ennen
one of the best, the greatest things in Finland is that you're basically allowed to go to any woods to pick berries and mushrooms. They call it every man's rights. So fresh superfood. Ja kakko ja toinen 2.